Starting with the big news this morning, after a lot of back and forth and even calling off the deal, Elon Musk has finally bought Twitter. He has completed his $44 billion acquisition, and as a first move, he has fired some of the top executives here. Musk accused the leaders of misleading him over the number of spam accounts. He has terminated Twitter Chief Executive Parag Agrawal, Chief Financial Officer Ned Segal, and Legal Affairs and Policy Chief Vijay Gadde. Reports say that right after the signing, Agrawal and Segal were escorted out of the Twitter headquarters. Musk and his team only had till today midnight to finalize this deal. And even before the announcement, Musk had already declared his acquisition of the microblogging website. It was a heartfelt message for his Twitter advertisers. I'm quoting here, "The reason I acquired Twitter is because it is important to the future of civilization to have a common digital town square." He further goes on to say that he didn't buy Twitter to make more money, rather to try to help humanity. He also called for a warm and welcoming platform for all, but not a quote-unquote free-for-all hellscape. Now, Musk reiterated that not everything will be allowed on the platform. Some content could see consequences. These latest comments are just an extension of what he has been saying all along. Musk wants to change many aspects of Twitter. But how they will translate in real time remains to be seen. Just 2 days ago, the billionaire sent Twitterati's into a frenzy. He posted a video of himself walking into the Twitter headquarters carrying a sink. He captioned it, "Entering the Twitter headquarters, let that sink in." The theatrics didn't end there, of course. Musk also changed his Twitter bio to read Chief Twit, If these weren't enough, he has now listed his location as the Twitter headquarters in San Francisco. For more on this, we're now being joined by Seth Sackner from Los Angeles. He is the Managing Director of Stratton Americas. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Now, the Twitter buyout saga has been full of twists and turns. And in the latest, how do you assess the sackings? How do you think this serves Elon Musk's vision of turning Twitter into the everything app that he'd mentioned previously?
I think there's quite a bit of work in front of him. And I think the firings are probably just the first shot across the bow, if you will. I think Mr. Musk is going to have to walk a really fine line between preserving the platform there, particularly if he makes cost cuts, and continuing to build it as a business, whether that is, keeping advertisers there and continuing to attract them, or bringing in other forms of revenue like subscription models. But it's quite a fine line, and I think it's going to be quite a bit of work, actually. And I don't think it's everything on the business side that we're hearing in terms of building it as a business is actually that consistent with what you just sort of said about keeping Twitter as a town hall, if you will. I think they're kind of in conflict with each other, if you will. So it's going to be a tough challenge for him to turn it around, for sure.
Right, absolutely. In fact, I was just going to come to that. He said the reason I acquired Twitter is because it is important to the future of civilization to have a common digital town square. What sort of changes do you think Twitter is in for?
Well, firstly, just behind that, if you look at what I think the vision of the founder of Jack Dorsey was, and probably still is for Twitter, it's more along the lines of that, town square or public trust, if you will. I think a little bit more about things like Wikipedia than I do about media companies. So that could be one change, and it starts to look quite different. Maybe a little bit of a walled garden, if you will. But I think you probably will see perhaps less moderation there, and I definitely think you'll see some of the characters coming back, maybe that weren't back before. But they're certainly going to try and do some more predictable things on the business side. So they had something called Twitter Blue, which is their subscription service already, and I'm sure they'll try and build out some more forms of subscription revenue, and maybe things like personalities or influencers will be selling subscriptions or will have revenue associated with their accounts. And they have to keep advertisers happy, and they have to keep refining that. So it's quite a mix of stuff that they're trying to achieve and still preserving it as a business. And it probably is better that it's a private company rather than something that's going to be subject to public market scrutiny constantly.
All right. Well, you also raised a very important point there. You said that there would probably be less moderation. That being said, you also said that there would be a return of some characters. Now, Musk has reiterated that not everything will be allowed on the platform. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think that he's going to have to strike some balance. I think the thing that I don't know anyone who would want to see it become some sort of dystopian type platform where it's a free for all and anything goes. I don't know who would pay to subscribe to that or who would want to advertise on that. So I think there's going to have to be some lines that are drawn. To me, it is ultimately about moderation. You need to have these areas moderated. That doesn't mean that you're censoring free speech. It just means that you're moderating it so it's a reasonable platform. And if some of the purported cuts turn out to be true, they're definitely going to be reducing costs. It may not be as much as 75% of the staff, but I think you'll see that. This is also going to be something where there's a lot of pressure on how you achieve that. So I think you're hearing a lot of kind of contradictory things, and he'll have to rationalize that in private, basically.
Right. All right, Mr. Sashna, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with your insights on this.
Great to be here. Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.